It is becoming a reality that having a CAPM or your PMP on your resume is like, yes, this person knows what they're doing. They have the foundation, they have the experience and the strategic thinking. And so it has advanced my career.
This is Projectified. I'm Steve Hendershot. Your first job in project management can kickstart an exciting and fulfilling career. But how do you get that first job? What skills and knowledge do you need? How do you showcase them? Today, we're joined by a couple of project professionals, both of whom have both PMI's CAPM and PMP certifications. Welcome Krista McCauley, a project coordinator at Insight Global in Des Moines, Iowa, in the United States, and Albert Cayuela, technical project manager at Banco Sabadell in Madrid. Krista and Albert, hello, and thanks for joining us.
Hi, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
What inspired each of you to dive into a career in project management? Did you have mentors, role models, or communities that guided you early on?
So my experience with going into project management really was out of necessity more than anything else. My background was in healthcare, in Medicaid specifically to Iowa. With being able to transfer those skills and that niche type of communication and understanding, I needed to look at how else and where else could I go. Project management is really about leadership. It's about being able to take the reins, be able to help support others, and be able to really identify ways to get things done. As a mother, project management comes in every day. And as working in community and coordination and case management, it just made sense. I wanted to expand my knowledge, though. I didn't want to just be in one area. I wanted to have multiple different projects, get into different types of areas to really understand and respect the work that we have across our community and across our nation.
Albert, how about you? How did you get pulled into this career?
I didn't look to be a project manager, but I always liked focusing on many things, not focusing only on one. So I had the opportunity to start managing projects, and I saw that I really like it because I have to control a lot of things and manage a lot of things and look for solutions, just like Krista said. So the moment I started managing projects, I saw that it's something that I really like.
So at some point in there, you then decide, okay, this is my career. What was that moment like? And then the real question here is, how did that translate into a career plan? This is no longer just a job I happen to be doing right now, but I'm going to invest in this.
Just after managing my first project, I started discovering all the skills that you need to be a project manager, all this knowledge that you have to gain. And I saw that there's a full career path behind it. So I decided I would go for it. And I started learning about it. And the moment you learn about project management, you find out about PMI, and that's what happened to me. So that's why I decided to pursue this certification. And here I am today.
Yeah, great. Krista, how about you?
Mine started with a conversation. So I was laid off from the Medicaid atmosphere a few years ago. And my partner has worked in software engineering and leading projects for all of his career. And we would have conversations at the dinner table of just what was going on or how he was managing different things. And I'd come up with solutions for him. And he's like, you're really actually pretty good at this. This is something that you might want to look into. And I was like, I don't have the education. I don't have the background. I was really putting myself down. I felt kind of this imposter type of syndrome. And he's like, you won't know until you try it. You can at least try to take the CAPM, see if that would be a route for you. So I started studying. I was like, all of this makes sense. It seems like it was reinforcing the skills that I already had. And that was what really led me into taking the initiative to really look for other jobs in that area, and really gave me the encouragement that I actually was really good at this.
One way around imposter syndrome is how can I add the resumeable skills? And so part of that is pursuing a certification. Part of that is on the job. Once you decided to go for it, what did that plan look like? This is what I need to take what I think I'm good at and show the world that I'm good at it.
what really helped me figure out that I had the qualifications to do it was just looking over the background and what I had implemented in different ways. That's one thing that they tell you is that project management can be small or it can be really, really large. So being able to look back at my career at different areas, I was an aquatics director for a while, managing people, making sure we had safety in place, things like that. That was probably one of the things that took the longest, though, was really acknowledging what skills that I had and what areas that I had them, and not feeling like I was embellishing. Before I even had my CAPM, I actually was able to start working for a company that kind of took me on to help build me up and really gave me that opportunity and chance to show my skills. I think that that's one area that businesses and companies actually can really, really key into is that just because something doesn't always fit exactly inside a resume, things are still able to work. And if someone has passion and ability and has the communication skills or the thought processes, those are some people that you really, really should take a risk on.
I actually have a pretty similar answer there, like Krista. I started doing project management because I was called up in the company I was previously in. From the first moment, I knew that it's something that I like doing. For me, it was very hard in the beginning to manage conflicts and stakeholders because it's something that I was not used to. But as Krista said, you look at everything you know, you look back and you see all you've done. You realize that you're actually very good at what you're doing and that you can be even better and you can see where you're going. Also, getting a lot of help from my managers that help me to see the mistakes that I'm doing, how can I handle these stressful situations, and so on. And also letting them take some responsibility for my mistakes as a junior project manager. That helped me a lot. And it actually helped me develop to this point where now I can do these things with other junior project managers.
What about when you started to look forward, not just thriving in your current role, but starting to think, okay, what's the step after this? So what do I need to do to get ready for that?
Yeah, it was right on the first project. I started looking into specifics and theory about project management because it was something that I was doing just based on what I was thinking I should do, not about something I studied. So right away I started checking on what's the career path. When it comes to that, you fall right away into PMI. And for me, certifications that PMI provides are a very good way not only to improve your CV, but also to have a proof and formalize all this knowledge that you had before and put it into, let's say, official words.
When you initially went to PMI and sought out first the CAPM certification, later the PMP, was that primarily with the sort of certification in view and what that would do to your career positioning, or was that for knowledge?
I pursued it because I wanted to formalize what I was already doing. I had experience running small projects. I wanted to understand why certain processes worked. And the CAPM is a foundation, not just a credential. It was able to give me language for what I was already practicing, scope, risk, communication plans. And that gave me credibility and confidence to be able to further my career and know that this was actually something that was pursuable.
It was very funny because I looked CAPM as something to get certified and kind of have the proof in my CV that I know how to manage projects. But once you start studying for CAPM, you're going to realize that a lot of what it's being taught is something that you already knew, but you didn't know that it's called that way. So it's a good way to formalize all the knowledge you already had before and also add some new theory that's going to help you in the future. And at the same time, I think that I quickly realized that it's a very good foundation to start your project management career.
What about roles at work? How did you think about, all right, I want to be on this project or leading this kind of project? What did that on-the-job experience look like in terms of what do I need to round out in order to prepare myself for the next step?
I kind of had this imposter syndrome. So for me, it was very important to remove this fear from myself and start managing the project, calling the shots, and knowing when something has to be done and when something is being done in the wrong way, right? So it was very important to do that. And at the same time, also formalizing, as I said before, all the knowledge that CAPM gave me. It was very important because when it comes to work meetings or taking on bigger projects, these things are important. It's not only about the knowledge, but also about how are you making the team feel? Like you have to make them feel like you're professional, you know what you're doing, and you have everything under control. So that's also important for me.
I think that my thing was more just jumping in with both feet. I didn't want to say no to anything because everything would be an experience and an opportunity. And really leaning into my mentors and the support system that I had within the companies that I have worked, specifically with project management. I wanted to make sure that I was setting myself up to continue to gain skills, to move up kind of the ladder. But that ladder is also metaphorical. Role title, I don't really like to think of it as something that has a whole lot of importance. It's about making sure that what you are doing, you are able to do to the best of your ability and excel at, and just being invested in mastering the craft of that.
Cool that you had that mentorship as well, which is another interesting point. Who were those people and where did they come from and how did you cultivate those relationships?
The main place that I would start first is my partner, who has worked in project management for most of his career. He has the degrees, he has the background, everything else that goes with that. Also inside of the positions and companies that I was working, you always kind of find someone who naturally is a leader, who wants to support those around them. And I hope that I can always be that for somebody else too. But being able to really ask the questions, make sure that I'm getting all the information that I need. So those are other project coordinators or project managers, and sometimes even stakeholders just telling you, this is what I want from you, not taking it personally when they're saying that we need something better, or we need something quicker, or we need something, done a certain way, and really taking all of that into a mentorship type of standpoint.
My mentor was mainly the previous CEO of the previous company I worked. He was a person that helped me a lot. He had a lot of experience as project manager before stepping on to be a CEO of a company. And he was the person that when I was a software engineer, he thought that I could be good managing software projects. And he called me up and gave me the opportunity, which I took. And for me, it was very important because it's not only about teaching how things are done, but also mentorship. It's important when your mentor is going to protect you from your mistakes, right? So when I would do a mistake that was not good for a project, he would be there to take responsibility and help me fix it. So for me, that's very important. It's not only about knowledge, it's also about kind of creating this bubble where you can grow safely.
What's an example of a significant challenge that each of you faced early in your career? How did you overcome that? Both in terms of project success, but also perhaps the gut check, maybe related to imposter syndrome, that convinced you, no, I do have this.
The challenge that I ran into was when I first took the actual first job that had the title. I was managing software engineers in different countries and different places, had projects in 3 different states, and I was overwhelmed. I didn't know if I could have a handle on it. I didn't know if I had the right type of communication, which is really why the CAPM came in so magnificently, was because being able to have the wording and the mindset that gave me of like, what is the exact way to formulate a project and put parameters around it and be able to really make this efficient and not just everybody's running everywhere and doing their own thing, but putting intentionality behind it. So yeah, those first few months were rough. Just being able to learn how to manage time, people, communication, and the right kind of communication. I think that was a huge part of the learning curve for me.
In the beginning, I struggled a lot to understand that some projects can be delayed and that it can be okay. It shouldn't happen, but it can happen, right? And in the beginning, as I said, I was stressing so much when we were getting close to a deadline and I thought that maybe we're not going to make it. And with the time and experience, you realize that it just works. It's going to happen. Things are going to get delayed sometimes. And our job as project managers is for that to not happen, but sometimes it's just inevitable, right? And also connecting with CAPM, what helped me a lot to not get so stressed and have things under control was all the knowledge and tools that CAPM can give you. It can actually help to understand what's happening with your project and to set up some kind of defense so these things don't happen in the future. and let you as a project manager live a more peaceful life, let's say.
Yeah, that's great. I love that these answers are so geared both toward professional success and being in a good mental place. As long as we're on the CAPM, what did you pull out of that that's been most instrumental?
It was a validation, not just for me, but for the companies that I've worked for. It is becoming a reality that having a CAPM or your PMP on your resume is like, yes, this person knows what they're doing. They have the foundation, they have the experience and the strategic thinking. And so it has advanced my career working as a project coordinator for Insight Global, really focusing on different types of projects and different types of areas. The reason why they looked at me was because, yes, I had that CAPM and I had that PMP. And having those two really make sure to set you up for success in the future, not just the background and the job titles and the resume building, but also the education piece of it.
These programs are not zero work. So obviously, you know, after the CAPM, you're also gaining the work experience needed to get the PMP. But when you became eligible for the PMP, did both of you just go for it?
Right after I got my CAPM, I already knew I wanted to get my PMP certification. And right after I got my 3 years of experience, I jumped into it and I got it right away. Studied a lot before. I prepared before having the 3 years of experience. And I got it at the first try. So it was pretty good decision.
I went straight from the CAPM to be like, you know, that was a lot of studying. I was able to pass. I'm just going to jump right in. It did take me about a year to get additional experience also, but to get the studying in around everything else that was going on in life. You know, I'm asked sometimes, even at work, a lot of people are attempting to go for their CAPM or their PMP. And they're like, how did you know that you were ready to do it? And I was like, I didn't at all. I studied and I studied and I studied, and I still didn't feel super confident in being able to pass. But finally, I was like, you have to go for it. If you don't go for it, then you won't know where you stand. So then I just jumped in with both feet and was able to pass it on the first try.
I actually met quite a few project managers that are like afraid of going for PMP. And my opinion is that if you already worked 3 years as a project manager, you already know what you're doing and you should be ready to go for it. I felt like one of the biggest difference between CAPM and the PMP is that at PMP, it's not only about theory, it also forces you to think like a professional project manager. And I'd say that if you already are a professional project manager and you've had 3 years of experience, you should kind of study for the exam because it has its specific questions, right? But you have nothing to lose because you already know all these things. You just have to put them in a paper.
What's your advice to young project professionals looking to chart that path forward?
If you have an opportunity and you think that it's the right one, just take it. Don't think about it. Don't be afraid. Just go for it. When it comes to project management, go for your CAPM certification. It's going to help you build a foundation. You're going to get ahead. You're going to get all this knowledge quite quickly. You're not going to have to go through so many projects or experiences to get it. So it's going to give you an advantage. And at the same time, when it comes to the PMP, I think it's very important to get it if you want to make a career in project management, because it's a basic requirement for a lot of jobs to have a PMP. And if it's not a requirement, it's going to make your CV look very well, and it's going to be a proof right away that you're very good at what you're doing and you have a lot of experience.
I would really echo that. I mean, the time that it takes to get your certification for CAPM and then add on the PMP, that's dedication in itself. If you're committing the time to do that and are able to execute on it, that's proof to any employer as a whole that you have the skills and knowledge and also the dedication to get things done. Project management isn't just about perfection. It's about progress and people. So learning to listen, to communicate, being able to adapt and be agile and staying curious, all of that contributes to being able to succeed in project management, in addition to having the PMP and the CAPM.
This has been awesome. Krista, Albert, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. this has been fun.
Thanks for joining us. Like the episode? Subscribe to Projectified on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a rating or review. Your feedback matters a lot. It helps us get the support we need to continue making this show. And be sure to visit us online at pmi.org/podcast, where you'll find the full transcripts for episodes, as well as links to related content like useful tools and templates, the latest research reports, and more. See you next time.